Okay, I need to set the record straight here. Uh the comments, like, look, we're getting views on Pistons videos. That's cool. We're getting views on Pistons videos, and if we're gonna keep getting views, I may as well just kind of do what do you like that background? How about that one? Ooh, a lot of Pistons going on there. Maybe this guy, but we're still continuing to get views on Pistons content, which is great. But overwhelmingly, it seems like there is a lot of frustration in the comment thread about how people are sick of waiting another year, how it's always one more year, always one more year. And I did a video talking about why Troy Weaver was a genius in the way that he went about free agency this year, because it's essentially a 1 year tryout for the entire team. It's a 1 year tryout for the entire team, not Cade Cunningham. It's not a tryout for him, not Jaden Ivey. Okay. Not even Jalen Duren or Asar Thompson. Like, those guys are set in stone. But for everybody else, it feels like, and I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody, but it feels like um, a competition. Who's going to rise to the cream of the crop? And everybody's sick and tired of being like, 1 more year. They wanted us to go out and sign a big name free agent. So in this video, I want to do a couple of things. I want to play a little game called Did You Want This Guy for This Much Money? And I'm going to play a little game called Why Rebuilds Take Time and Why the Pistons rebuild is taking longer compared to other teams, and who we're more in line with, and why it's taking 4 years, 5 years instead of 2 years. So let's talk about that. And the first one is, would you rather? All right. So you get Joe Harris on for nothing. You actually get 2 second-round picks. So those are nice to have. We ended up making one of those second-round picks. We turned it into Monty Morris, right? But you have to pay him $19 million. And so you're getting him for nothing. And then we get Monty Morris. Would you have rather had Cam Johnson for $30 million a year? Like, I love Cam Johnson. I was on here talking about how I wanted Cam Johnson, how I'd be willing to pay him 23, 24, $25 million a year. Cam Johnson has proven he hasn't been able to play over 60 games in an NBA season for the last 3 years. Like, he hasn't been healthy. And I think if anybody would know what his ceiling is, if he would be able to be healthy, what his availability is going to look like, it would be the guy who coached him for multiple years in Monty Williams, the new Pistons head coach. What would you have done, Pistons fans, if we were the ones to sign Jeremy Grant to the 5-year, $160 million contract, 5 years, $32 million a year? How would you have felt about that? The numbers free agents were getting this year were astronomical. And it's starting to prove that the best way to build your team is through the draft and through trades. That's how people are getting star talent at a different price. I was hearing, they were talking about it in the Athletic pod, the Bun and Cardigan show. What would you rather have, Cam Johnson or OG Anunoby? Most people would say OG Anunoby. You might be able to get him on a much cheaper deal for a trade. Like, the Raptors might be willing to offload that. You don't know what that looks like. James Edwards III was very clear that he thinks there will be a couple trades before October, before the season starts. Things can continue to trend in the right way. I understand it's not what we wanted to do, but go out, spend big money on free agents. When was the last time the Pistons did that? Hello, Ben Gordon. Hello, Charlie Villanueva. What about under Stan Van Gundy going out and spending $80-100 million on Boban Marjanovic and re-signing Reggie Jackson and Tobias Harris? Like guys that are good, but you're overpaying for mediocrity. You don't want to do that. I wouldn't want to be in the position that the Brooklyn Nets are in right now, because they're overpaying for mediocrity. They are almost to the luxury tax and their salary cap, and they're going to be playing for a play-in game. Like, that's what they're going to be next year, most likely. Is that what you want? So let me move to the second part of this, which is the rebuild. Why is it taking so long? And I have one word: assets. It is assets. What were our assets when Troy Weaver took over? We had Blake Griffin. We had to buy him out. Nobody wanted him. It was a huge move, and everybody celebrated Troy Weaver just buying him out, moving on, and it just cost us $34 million on the books for a year. We not only didn't get anything for him, we had to pay him not to play for us, and he went to play for someone else. That kills a year. Also, we had nobody else that was worth much of anything for trades. We had nobody worth anything. You inherit what you inherit. You get what you get. Right? So let's look at some of the other teams that are doing a rebuild at the same time as us. The Orlando Magic. They ended down toward the bottom with the 34-48 record, but they were in the hunt for quite some time this year. Right? So why are the Magic getting there so much faster than us? They had a couple of guys by the name of Aaron Gordon, who was traded for good compensation, and Vucevic, who they both drafted. They got 2 first-round picks for Vooch from the Chicago Bulls. I think they got 2 first-round picks. It might have been 1, but who cares? We didn't get any first-rounders for anybody. We didn't get any players for anybody. What about the Indiana Pacers? They had Paul George, who they traded to get Sabonis and Victor Oladipo, and then they used Sabonis to get Halliburton. Like, they had players that they could turn into other players, right? The Hornets, they didn't have anybody. They still are bad. Like, that's just the way it goes. Their rebuild was slow. All right. What about the Spurs? What about the Rockets? Right? The Rockets didn't have anyone. They've been just as bad as us for just as long as us. They're trying to do the exact same thing that we are. What about the Jazz? Oh my goodness. They got first round picks galore for Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. Yes, and they had a ton of cap space. So they were able to bring players in. They have draft picks for days. They can package stuff together. They can do a bunch of moving, grooving. Yeah, they should be better right away. The Oklahoma City Thunder, they did a massive jump this year after being bad for a long time, by the way. They were not good for a long time. But getting rid of their stars is what got them Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Paul George is, I think, how Shai got to OKC. And now he's a great player. So you can do it through the draft. And I think this would be a completely different conversation if Cade was playing last year. If Cade was playing last year and there's any resemblance of health, this is not a 17-65 team. It just isn't. They're much better. So that's kind of where I want to go with this. I wanted to have the conversation of like, what would you like the Pistons to do? Next year, no, they're not going to win 50 games. They're probably not going to win 40. But if they win 30 to 35 games and the young core is showing promise, do you think Pacers fans had fun watching the Indiana Pacers this year? I think they did. They went 35-47. The Magic fans have hope and they're excited about the future. They went 34-48. Right? The Thunder won 40 games. Jazz fans were thrilled. Remember how good the Jazz, they came out of the gates hot as can be. They won 37 games. You only need to win 30 to 35 games in order to have hopium filled, in order to see what these players can become. So I'm excited to see what they can become. Let's see what they do. All right. That's what I have to say. Go Pistons. Watch some Summer League. Let's see what Asar Thompson has got. Oh, I'm pumped up. Let's see what Marcus Sasser's got. We'll talk about all that and what we're seeing in Summer League as well. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you agree with me in any way, shape, or form. Are you still just too tired? The rebuild's been going too long. I don't know. You let me know what your thoughts are. What I think is, yes, last year was a struggle, but if we can have a resemblance of health this year, they're going to be a fun team to watch. See you on the next one.